Good morning, everyone. It's kind of a quiet morning right now, and I kind of feel quiet. Do you ever have those days where you kind of want to just huddle down and stay warm when it's kind of cold and blustery outside? And that's kind of where I am right now. So we're going to do a couple of things in this video. First, we're going to review the Baker Creek Vegan Cookbook. I have a really good stir fry that I picked out, and I think it's gonna be really tasty. Kind of unusual, but I think it's gonna be good. But before we start cooking and getting into the pros and cons of the cookbook, I thought it would be appropriate to do something else. Some of you may remember that I got some Baker Creek seeds along with that cookbook, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and get them started. Now, I know it might be a little bit early in the season, but Tennessee's been getting warmer and warmer throughout the years. So I think it'll be okay to go ahead and start them now before the heat of the summer really just kind of takes off and kills everything. I also have some seeds that I'm not sure about. So these are some really old seeds that my mom found in her drawer. So not sure if they're gonna germinate. I thought we would devote at least 2 of these little egg crate holders to trying to start a cilantro and parsley and just see what happens. And I thought we would start them in this egg crate that I got at Sam's Club. So used up all the eggs, obviously, but I didn't want to throw this out because it's kind of a perfect little greenhouse. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as a seed starter. And you can see, or hopefully see, I've actually got everything marked with what I'm going to do. So basil will be on this side. This is going to be Chinese basil. This is going to be the holy basil. And so I've got several basils here, and then on this side is going to be our tomatoes. So you can see I've got big rainbow, I've got the terracotta, so everything is labeled and ready to go. So let's go ahead and have a bit of a quiet morning with nature and get some of these seeds going. And there we go. We had our little morning communion with nature, and we got a lot of seeds planted. This is the first time I have ever used something like this, so I'm not sure what'll happen, but I will keep you informed if it works, and I will definitely be using these again. So I'm going to put this in a warm spot, keep it nice and moist, and we'll see what happens. And hopefully in a couple of weeks, I'll be able to show you some little sprouts that's come out of these packets of seeds. Now that we have our seeds safely tucked away, let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons of this cookbook. Now, every year Baker Creek Seeds puts out a giant seed catalog that is absolutely a wonder to behold. This is the first year that I ordered it, and I am so happy with it. It's actually got some recipes in here, so when some of our garden starts coming in, I'm going to try one of these recipes for the channel so we can see just how tasty it is. But you can see they do a lot of seed history, plant history. They will tell you exactly where each seed came from and who developed it. It is just overall a wonderful read, and of course it gets your juices flowing for wanting to get that garden going, which is why I kind of planted some seeds today, because I just couldn't stand it. But as I came to the back of this catalog, I spied this. And after reading it, I just knew I was going to have to add this to my seed order. Now, I didn't pay $18. When I got on the website, it was actually $15. So I don't know if it's still $15, but that's what I paid in January. And now we get to take a closer look at the cookbook itself. So we have an introduction. We have, you know, kind of what Baker Creek Seeds is and how they got started and why they decided to do a cookbook. They've got lots of tips in here for what you can do with your harvest after you have planted it. They've got a whole list of kitchen staples that you will need for these recipes, and then we come to the recipes themselves. Now, this starts on page 22, and the recipes goes all the way to the end, so you get quite a few recipes to choose from. Now, first I'm going to go into the cons of this cookbook, and then we'll end on the pros. One of the cons is there are some kind of exotic ingredients, things that I would term as expensive to get in most areas of the country, and vegetables especially. If you can't grow some of these vegetables, you're gonna pay a pretty penny for them in the grocery store. So just keep that in mind, and if you go into it not afraid to make some substitutions, some of which I will show you later for this meal that we're doing today, then you should be okay, especially leaving out some of the things you either can't find or some of the things that are just very price prohibitive. In my area, bok choy and chard especially can be extremely expensive, and something that I'm just not willing to put that much money towards, especially given the fact that Tennessee, especially in my area, has a 10% sales tax added on top of the already high food prices. Another one of the cons I feel in this cookbook is the fact that it's just recipes, but no formal formatting, I guess I would put it. So you're not starting with appetizers and going to desserts and drinks. The cookbook just starts, and there's kind of no rhyme or reason to it. But you will see that you have a salad with dressing right next to a stir fry. Now, you may be thinking like me, but wait a minute, Lita, asparagus, it's in alphabetical order. That's what I thought too, but it actually isn't. So it seems like it's gonna be in alphabetical order, and then all of a sudden you get sauerkraut after what should have been the B's, I guess, if you're staying with the alphabet. So you go from broccoli to broccoli and potato to Brussels sprouts to sauerkraut. So to me, this should have been in the back of the book with the S's, but it's not. It's right here in the middle of the B's. So there is kind of, and then here you have a K, kraut burgers. So there really isn't a rhyme or reason, it seems like, to how those recipes were put together in this cookbook. So if you don't mind having snacks right next to breakfast, kind of not knowing what's going to come next, then that won't be a problem for you. It's a little bit of, you know, a hang up for me. I would have preferred for everything to be, you know, nice and categorized. But I can work with this, and it's not a complete deal breaker for me. Now, on to my pros. Number one, I would say that for $15, even $18 if it goes up to that price, but I paid $15, so for $15, I'm extremely happy with this cookbook because I feel like I got a lot of bang for my buck. There's a ton of recipes in here, and all of them look really good, very interesting, and something that I would actually eat. You know, some of these cookbooks can go either way. When you're ordering something before you can look at it, you don't really know what you're going to get. But this is something, having looked through the entire cookbook, I really couldn't find something that I wouldn't try. So I think that's a very good pro for a cookbook. Now, this is a vegan cookbook, and a very interesting vegan cookbook. This family really runs the gamut of vegetables. I mean, you're getting a ton of variety within your vegan diet with this cookbook. Now, that's kind of stands to reason because they live on a giant farm with a seed company, and they can, you know, grow all of these, and they can have a giant garden, and they can have all the variety that they would ever need or want. But that means you get to benefit, you know, from their variety. If you ever wanted to go ahead and, you know, plant something that's potentially a little bit different in your garden, or maybe check out your local farmer's market and see what your local farmers are growing. And I guarantee you, you'll find a recipe in here that is going to help you make something really good with it. So for this particular cookbook, I do believe the pros outweigh the couple of very small cons that I pointed out. And so now I'm going to go ahead and maybe get a cup of tea and continue my quiet morning, and then we're going to come back together and cook that stir fry and give it a taste. Can't wait to try it. And it's now the afternoon. I've continued my slow day by doing a few chores, painting a little bit, got some crocheting done, and now it's time to go ahead and put this dinner together. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what we got so far. I've got my cup of tea to fortify myself and keep a little bit warm on this very cold, blustery day. And I've got everything out except for the ginger that's in the freezer that we're going to need to put this meal together. It has a really good list of ingredients to it, so I'm excited to try it. I've already got the rice cooking, and I've got my pan out ready for everything else. All we have to do is actually prepare the vegetables. Now, as far as some of the substitutions, the asparagus was a little over $4, and this actually turned out to be cheaper than fresh. So that's why I went ahead and got this instead of, you know, the actual bundle in the produce section. As far as the mushrooms, this is shiitake. The recipe does call for 8 ounces of shiitake mushrooms, but as you know, shiitake is a lot more expensive than the other mushrooms, so I didn't want to buy 2 of these tubs, so I got 1, but that's only 5 ounces. So I went ahead and got the little baby Bella mushrooms to supplement because these are cheaper. So let's go ahead and get preparing the rest of the vegetables, and we'll also be throwing that sauce together with the peanut butter and soy sauce, and then we will be ready to put it in the skillet. And we are doing good for time. This recipe really doesn't take as long as I was kind of fearing it would. I'm gonna put this on the stove. We're gonna get this nice and bubbly and incorporated. We've got all of our vegetables already lined up, waiting for us to put them in the pan. So I'm gonna go ahead and heat that up so we can get that done. But I just discovered something. And for my vegans out there who are watching, you probably already saw what happened and may have been screaming into the computer screen, no, don't do it, it's not vegan. But I had no idea. So let me show you what I found in the ingredients list of this chili paste. So imagine my shock when I look at the the allergen list and I see shrimp and shellfish and fish. We've got soybean, shallot, tamarind, red chili pepper, but look at this, anchovy extract. It contains fish and shrimp and garlic salt. So this is not a vegan product. Now, I'm sure, like I said, all of my vegan watchers out there already know this and could foresee the mistake that I was making. But for those of you who did not know that, like myself, and I don't really use this product. I might have used this maybe 1 or 2 times in some recipes in the past, but this isn't something I keep on hand. And I saw chili paste. I just grabbed it and didn't think anything else about it. So that's something to keep in mind if you're a new vegan. Make sure you read the label because not all chili pastes are created equal. And if you're someone who needs to cook something for a vegan friend or vegan family member and saw this video and thinks, oh, they would love that, that'd be great. Make sure you look at the ingredients on that chili paste, because apparently there is a vegan option and a non-vegan option. Now, my particular grocery store, none of the chili paste bottles said vegan, so I'm not even sure if they would even have that. It's okay, we're gonna chalk it up to a lesson learned. Next time I make a vegan dish, I'm gonna check even the most innocent looking of products and not assume that just because it says chili paste, not assume that it's only chili paste. So let's go ahead and we'll continue on with the rest of this recipe. And like I said, get that on the stove. I'm gonna heat up my skillet and we're gonna start putting everything together. And we're ready for our next phase. This is nice and warm. I've got the rice done. Now this is gonna look a little different, you know, than like the other kinds of natural peanut butter, because this is actually peanuts and almonds and chia seeds all kind of mixed together. I got that from Costco. And so I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna start with our onion and garlic first. Hopefully I didn't get that pan too hot. And I did get it a little too hot, but that's okay. I've got it turned down now, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of our vegetables and go ahead and get that stir fried. Then we will add our sauce. So I went ahead and added the water in there too, but I just wanted to show you how pretty this looks. I love that green and red together with the natural brown and beige tones of the mushrooms. This looks so good and appetizing. But I'm gonna let this go a little bit longer and then we will get to do our taste test. Ooh, we are finally ready. I added the peanut butter sauce in there. Now it doesn't look like much, I know, but it smells incredible. Got the rice all seasoned and ready, so I'm going to go ahead and bowl up and we will give this a try. I really have high hopes for this, so let's keep our fingers crossed that it's worth the effort. Okay, my mouth is watering just smelling this. So let's go ahead and tuck in and see what we think. Oh my gosh. Wow. You know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I think this is the single best stir fry that I have ever had. Or I should say that I've personally ever made. This is so good. I cannot believe it. Now, I know it looks a little odd, but like I said, that's because my peanut butter had chia seeds and, you know, some other like almonds and stuff like that in it. So it's gonna look a little different than like your normal natural peanut butter. But I did the first bite and you get like that first burst of flavor that you're like, oh, this is good. Then it bursts again and you get even more complex flavor. And you're like, wow, that's so good. And then yet another flavor bursts in and adds another layer of complexity on top of that. And no joke, my mouth is still watering because I want more. This is something I will make again and again. It is so unbelievably good. I am so impressed by this. It's the perfect balance of sweet and savory. It's everything you want to have in a stir fry. I am so excited by this. I really hope you try this. I think you're gonna love it. It's a great dish to play around with. You know, like I said, you can do broccoli if you want to instead of the asparagus. Use what you have in your refrigerator. This is a great way, you know, if you've got carrots, if you've got some, you know, other vegetables you need to pull out. This sauce is going to work with so many different veggies. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So as far as the cookbook goes, I am so glad that I picked that up and saw that in the back of the seed catalog, because it is so phenomenally good. If the rest of the recipes are like that, then it is so worth the $15 that I paid for it. So thanks for joining me on this kind of the slow ways of a cold day kind of episode where we planted some seeds and then got to eat an awesome stir fry. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.
And if you like historical cooking and unusual cookbooks, here's 2 more videos you might enjoy. And make sure to like and subscribe for more foodie adventures.